back, everybody, to the Sunnyslope Alumni podcast. My name is Gilbert Gallagher, and we are in for a wonderful treat today. I'd like to thank everybody for liking and subscribing. Once again, the channel is getting a lot of hits, so that's good. A lot of alumni are chiming in. But today is all about this wonderful lady right here. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Zona Brandt. It was formerly Zona Michelena. I'm from the class of 1983 at Sunnyslope High School.
I'm so glad to have you on board here. 1983. What was Sunnyslope like back then?
Well, to me, it was a great place to be. It was a great time to spend with my friends, and I really enjoyed going to school every day. I didn't like the homework so much here and there, but it was great. It was pretty relaxed. From my memory, everyone got along okay. We had a few cliques here and there. I wasn't in any particular one though, but it was a great time to be young, and it was a great atmosphere to go to school in. I really liked it.
Now, what part of Sunnyslope did you grow up in?
When I was younger, I went to Richard E. Miller and Royal Palm. So then I went on to Sunnyslope High School.
Yeah. Now, how would you describe Zona back in 1980s?
Well, I was more shy, I was a little bit more introverted. And so when I started high school, I made it a point to take a drama class my freshman year, and then I took a speech class my second year. And so uh, I think the shyness went out the window, but I was very much a music lover, which I think anyone that knows me can tell you I am, and I remain to this day to be one. And I did all my studies every day, all my homework. I didn't have any problems with that. I did participate in softball, and that's pretty much it. I just, went to school mostly and had a great time.
What kind of music were you listening to back then? Big bands?
I was mostly a rock and roll kind of girl, so I was listening to a lot of Rush. That was pretty popular with us kids then. Then there was Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix, April Wine, bands like that. Um, but I also, I listened to all kinds of music, but that was my particular favorite. And I always had a Walkman with me, headset on my head. We didn't have Bluetooth back in those days, but I carried my Walkman. It was a Mega Bass Walkman, which I still have. Actually, I probably should have brought it to put it out here, but yeah, I still have it, and it works.
Now, I was looking through your yearbook and I saw a couple of teachers that we had in common.
Who?
So there was Mr. Deaver showed up there, and Mr. Matheny, the PE
Mr.
teacher.
Matheny. Oh, okay. I barely remember him because back in those days that they split us up a lot as far as the girls and the boys, and there was some area of sports where we did crossover, track and field, and we had square dancing back in those days. I don't know if they still have it at Sunny Slope, but I enjoyed it. And but yeah, Mr. Matheny and Mr. Deaver. Wow, that guy was great. Very entertaining, and you learned a lot too while you were in his class.
So the interesting thing about the square dancing, I have a couple of classmates that got married because of that.
Really? Tell me about that. That sounds great.
Well, yeah, it's people that were kind of shy in junior high, but then it was freshman year of PE, and they mixed the boys and the girls. The only time they got to interact, and that was the first time that either of them really even got close to another girl or even worked up the, I don't know what to say, if it was
The
like
nerve.
talk,
The nerve.
and then that was it. Now I think one of them already had another kid. Like they had their child has already graduated from Sunnyslope as well.
Oh, that's great. Wow. That's pretty that's pretty awesome. That's incredible.
Their advice was to not go to the square dance class.
I get married too early.
Yeah, they got married in high school.
Well, you know, to each his own. That's how it works for some people. So
Now there are
good with that.
some different clubs that I saw in your yearbook. Were you a part of any clubs or other organizations other than softball?
I was not, to be honest with you. I kind of wish, looking back, that I would have partaken in some of them, and the reason was I was dating someone older, and he attended Sunnyslope also, but he was a couple of years older, and so I usually, when school was out, then we were doing other things, so hanging out with friends and that kind of thing. So it's just I didn't go. I wasn't in any clubs, regrettably, I should say.
How would you describe your friend group?
Well, I wasn't, like I mentioned before, I wasn't in any particular clique, so I enjoyed the company of everyone, pretty much. I can't think of anyone that I didn't enjoy speaking with or hanging out with, but so but basically, I enjoyed being around people that were friendly, and they like to have a good time, and they appreciated me as a friend too. So I was pretty lucky to have quite a few friends.
Now, was there anybody in particular that had a big impact on you, an influential impact, either one of your friends or a group of friends or teachers or
Well, my teachers, definitely. I can give you some teachers. Mr. McLean, because through him I knew a lot more about Shakespeare, and how to understand the written English that he wrote in, back in those days, where it was difficult for some people. I found it fairly easy, and I really enjoyed it, and it's really affected my taste in movies, through now. So that's one teacher. Mrs. Fields, I would thank her as well, because she gave us, I think it was 3 new words to learn every day. She wrote them down, and she said, she had us write the words down on a 3x5 index card, and then we had to punch a hole in it, and then through the hole we had all the cards on a ring. So we would have a test every week on the vocabulary, but you learned it. It stayed in your head. So that was a great method of learning. And so that expanded my vocabulary in that way. And I should probably continue that still. Then Mrs. Benton, the drama teacher that I had in freshman year, she was great, because there was one of the first assignments that we got where she asked us to go stand at the front of the class one at a time, and we could talk about anything that we wanted to. She said it doesn't even really have to make sense what you're saying. It just has to be a couple minutes that you're up there, and then I'll just let you know when you're done. And so everyone went through, but we didn't know why we were doing it. And by the time that the lesson ended, she told us that she counted the number of times everyone said. So you wouldn't believe, there's some people that when they're speaking, they'll use the word in between their sentences, and I don't think they realize how many times they're saying it. So that was important to me, because it made me cognizant of how many times I do that. So I'm not saying you shouldn't say it at all, but it just makes me pay more attention. And then of course, Mr. Willett, he was great. He was my art teacher, and he was good at showing us different methods of drawing and expressing ourselves through paint and oil paint, watercolor, and different methods of pencil and formats of using them. And he just stressed to practice and apply yourself. And he was really good about helping you understand how to do things and do these different techniques. And I did end up going to art school, and through my job, my life today, I still use a lot of those skills. So it's helped me throughout my life. So I really appreciate him. Yeah.
So I'm going to add 2 more teachers to that, because Mrs. Fields was there when I was there, and Mr. Willett as well.
Yeah, and they both live in the Royal Palm area, and I see Mr. Willett a lot. And well, I shouldn't say a lot. I do see him every 2 to 3 years. And Mrs. Fields I don't see, but I do know she's around.
Now, once again, looking at your yearbook, you guys had stuff that I didn't have when I attended. Like there was the wrestling Vikettes.
Don't ask me about that, because I know they were there, but I couldn't tell you anything. I didn't do that.
What about Powder Puff?
That was another thing that I didn't do either. But and there was some of these, to be honest with you, I didn't even know about them until I got the yearbook either. So it was new to me as well.
Okay.
Sorry, everyone.
Oh, that's okay. Because let's see, Sunnyslope related. If you were to describe Sunnyslope in one word, how would you describe it?
It was fantastic. Just absolutely fantastic. I got to go to school with some of the coolest people on the face of the planet. It was great. All the memories I have were great.
Everybody's going to want me to ask about those great people, because I always see those smiling faces all over you guys' alumni page.
Oh yeah. So have you taken a look at our Facebook page? We do have one for the class of 1983, and I mean, there's a lot more faces I'd like to see on there. So we are having I'm organizing our 40th reunion, 40 years, and so I anticipate I'm taking a lot of pictures there, and I'll be posting them on that page.
Okay. When is your reunion?
Okay. Well, we are having ours over 2 dates. It's November 17th and 18th, which is a Friday and a Saturday. And the first night will be at Bobby D's, which is a local sports bar restaurant. It's on Cave Creek in Peoria. And then the second night will be at Enchiladas, which is a popular venue for our school to use. And they're great. It's a great place to go. So we'll be there both nights. Or I'm sorry, Bobby D's on one night and then Enchiladas the second night.
Now, you also scheduled a tour of the, I guess, just the new school, Sunnyslope?
Yes. So they've built a couple extra buildings there, and it looks like they're still in the process. They're under construction still, but we do have a tour set up with the class of 1982, which is on Saturday, November 4th at 10 a.m. So if anyone is interested in attending that, you can email me at what is our email address? It's shs1983vikings@gmail.com. So that's shs1983vikings@gmail.com. Sorry about that.
That's okay, because I'll go ahead and put that link in the bio as well. So if people want to reach out to you, they can email you there. Okay. You started to hit on, with Mr. Willett being influential to what you do now. How would you describe yourself now, who you are now?
Oh, well, I work. I'm not retired or anything like that. So, but what I would say is, take your experience in school and then, once you find, if you don't know what you want to do, this is what I did, because I did find myself at one point in my life where I didn't have a job and I wasn't sure what I was going to do. So what I did was I took a piece of paper and I wrote down on one side of the sheet, things that I didn't like about any of the jobs that I had held before. And and that could be vague because you may or may not remember everything. But then I did write down a column of what I did like to do, and that was the important column, because I took all the things that I liked and I put them together, and I said, well, what does this mean? And I came up with event planner, and so that's what I'm doing to this day. It took me a little while to find out, but that was the easiest way for me to do it, and it worked out really well for me because it's definitely influenced my life. And so I've had different positions as far as where I've worked, but what I've done is essentially the same, doing event planning and marketing, and using those graphic design skills that I have.
So I seen, once again, I'm going back to your yearbook, that your class was the first class to have their prom at Wrigley Mansion.
Yes, sir. It was awesome. Yeah, it was great. It was a beautiful night, and I didn't stay there very long because I did have I was with a group of friends and we went and did our own thing too, but it was beautiful. And they had it set up just for us, and what can I say? I wasn't one of the people that organized that, but it was great. It was a great place to have a prom.
Is there any big projects that you would like to share with people that you've done in the past or are working on in the future?
One of the projects that I worked on in years past was, I was on a team. I was selected to be on a team while I was working at a large financial institution here in Phoenix. And we came up with, it was a recognition program for employees so that they'd be able to recognize each other. Because normally when you're working, a lot of people anticipate that they're going to get praise or not praise from their boss. But we came up with an idea where we wanted for people in different departments to be able to recognize their fellow employees by just letting people know, this person really helps me out in my job a lot, and they make my life easier, or whatever it is. They're really friendly, or anything like that. But you kind of had to get a little bit more specific with the explanations, and so that people would submit their request for people to get recognized. And then if that was approved, then the receiving person would receive so it was a written certificate, and it would have points on it. And you could actually take those points and use them towards merchandise from this company, or you could just use it towards cash, once you acquired so many points. And the number of points could be subjective. If you wanted to request more additional points, you just had to clear that with your supervisor. But people really liked it because they were able to, it really opened up the avenues of recognition. And I think that that's important throughout people's lives, because no matter what job you do, you might not always know what kind of influence that you're having on someone else that you're working with. And it may be good, it may be bad, but when it's good, it's good to know, because it makes you want to do better at what you're doing. And I thought that was pretty important. So we ended up submitting that for our International Chairman's Award, and we got the Silver Award and this is in the world, not just in the United States or in our state. It was, it was a world company, and so we got a silver level award for that program.
That's awesome, because I agree with you that recognition from not only like your direct relationships to people, but your indirect relationship, that speaks volume to the character of who you have.
Yeah.
And that's where we see
Yes.
a lot of these people here at Slope, where they may not have gone to Slope at the same time, but because of something that somebody did here, they are very much like into their lives in just saying how much they like that they did something, and then that
Yes.
makes people feel good and want to continue doing what they're doing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because if you're constantly hearing negative feedback, that's really, that just weighs you down, and that doesn't help you out at all. But if you're hearing positive feedback from whoever it is, it always helps if it's your boss. But if it's from other people, it makes you just instinctively want to do well and just keep on going and moving forward, even if it's tough. If you have a tough road that you're working on, it just makes you want to do better and you know just give your best effort, whatever it is.
So, Zona, you shared with us a little bit about who you were back then. You shared with
Mhm.
us a little bit about who you are right now. If you were to go back in time and give advice to the Zona back in the 80s, what
Mhm.
would that advice be?
Oh, I totally know. I would say one thing is, don't spend time in a job that you don't like. Just do what you love, and hopefully it's something that you're good at. And that's the important thing, because time is short. You don't realize how fast it flies. It's easy to say, when you're young that oh, I got plenty of time, but then next thing you know, you don't have plenty of time. So it's just, just do what you love and do it good, do it well. I should say, not do it good, do it well. And yeah, don't waste your time. That's a big thing. Don't, whatever it is, if it's in a job, if it's in a relationship, if it's whatever, just don't waste your time. Do something with your time, something productive. And the last thing that I would say is, uh, and these are words that I heard that Madonna said many years ago, was the only way to get what you want is to ask for it. And so I firmly believe in that, because there's a lot of people that they waste their time by assuming that other people know what they want, or they don't ask for what they want, and they just spend a lot of time going in circles before they are able to, either get it or never get it. And some people never get what they want. But, just cut to the chase. Ask people, ask whoever it is, just let them know what it is that you want. And the worst that you can be told is no. Then you start over or start differently. That's what I
Now,
would say.
Zona, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. Is there anybody that you would want to see on the podcast from that's fellow alum?
Oh, well, that would probably be somebody in the class of 81, because when we started, or 80, when we started in high school, I just remember just feeling like a small little kid, and all the seniors had been there already, and high school was, to me, because I didn't have any older siblings, it was a new experience, and so I was the one that was breaking in the family. And so to see, the seniors and the juniors, I always thought, what have they already gone through, what have they pushed through. And these are also people that when I was going to Richard E. Miller, they were at Royal Palm, and they were, we could see some of the things that they were doing through the fence, and so it was just, I would like to see somebody from the class of 80 or 79, you know, that would be wonderful. And I have an individual in particular. Uh, I couldn't give you a name because I didn't know them well enough to know, who has the best stories, but I'm sure there are some.
Oh, you beat me to it. You asked the question that I was going to ask.
What?
Um, no, of anybody, any name in particular. So you already answered that.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
last question, or it's just the last ask of you. I'm just going to give you the time, and this time is for you to part your wisdom on our fellow alum.
Oh, well, again, I'm just going to repeat my advice, and that would be just, don't waste your time, do what you love, and if the best way to get what you want is to ask for it, and don't be afraid to ask for it. So.
All right. Thank you so much, Zona. Everybody, you're listening to the Sunnyslope Alumni podcast. Please like and subscribe. Follow us, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. I think we're all everywhere. But yeah, fill out your questionnaire. Come on the podcast. And class of 1980, 81, Zona wants to hear from you.
Yes, I do. Go SHS. Go Vikings.
Yeah, Sunnyslope wins every day. And I will talk to you soon.
Okay.